it's a qualifying game for top 8. So is Louis Money going to get knocked into losers? And is Maister going to be primed to make top 8 and go on that final run to finally see if he can get that elusive tournament victory? But until then, we have the winners quarterfinals of this.
Yeah, this is the last winners bracket set to qualify for that winner's side of top 8. And again, it just can't be overstated how important it is to not have to play through those extra grueling sets in losers bracket this deep into the bracket where there are so many good players available. You've got to get off to a hot start here, and Maister, of course, has done just that. If he gets his grab on you, you are going to take 50 pretty much guaranteed.
And it was actually in that first 6 seconds that's exactly what happened. He took about 40 to 50%, and this is why the deficit is kind of stark right now. It was only because of a couple of mistakes that Maister made that led to, this little small comeback. But Louis Money just having a little bit of difficulty, and Lion Tamer right there just clashing with that move. And Maister, so far, is going to be pretty much to the Matterhorn by the book, right? Combo breaking moves if they're negative on shield, and also just optimizing combos. That is the game plan of Maister, and so far it's working out for him, Kimona.
Yeah, and on Battlefield 2, Banjo, I mean, he is sticking underneath these platforms like it is his home because he knows that a lot of what Luis is going to get things started off of is jumping in with those aerials, or at least mixing him up with that threat. But Maister around these platforms, no fear whatsoever, able to take that first stock, and now he's just got to make sure that he can hang on to it, although at 105, it may not be long for this world.
Right, and you see like the edge guarding situations that Louis Money's trying to put out, and literally he's counting on Maister to just overextend or just make any type of mistake so it can be punished accordingly, and not getting a little bit of the sour spot of that dash attack right there, the stalling at the ledge. And Louis Money going to be able to jab out on the ledge right here.
Yeah, that was good recognition there by Maister too, that he was about to fall into that jab, certainly lose the stock at those percents, so he just held down and decided, all right, well, I'm going to reset the situation. He's holding the jab anyways, so, I mean, grabbing the ledge in that situation, pretty free. Now you got to get past the Palu ledge trap, though, and we were talking about this. Both of these characters have some pretty brutal ledge trapping games.
Yeah, the setups really extend the disadvantage for the other character. Like, it's literally like a situation where like if Game & Watch gets on ledge and it's just like, okay, so now I have to deal with the breakfast, I have to deal with things like the Lion Tamer forward tilt and things like that. And, throwing out of 9 hammers a little bit liberally, but I mean, hey, RNG is something when you play this character.
I'm almost positive that Maister meant to do something else, but if he didn't, then you have to consider, right, that if he's playing with this kind of lead, if he's already got a read on Luis's habits of getting off the ledge, because Game & Watch does kind of choke you around different areas to have to choose particularly, right? He can kind of pare down those options. Maybe that hammer is something that actually may come into play, but regardless, right now, pretty much dead even, except Luis going to fall victim after losing his double jump to a nasty angle on that down smash.
It's one of these situations to where like Louis Money has to just, it's just unfortunate that like the Palutena as a character only gets you like so much reward on hit. Like she doesn't get exactly what Game & Watch does, which is, able to put you in massive disadvantage out of combo breakers. But what Palutena like has the ability to do is like once she grabs you, she can literally follow up with things like, back airs and F-tilts and things like that. But unfortunately, those exchanges don't equal up in the way they should or the way that Louis Money wants to.
They got to be greater than the sum of your parts, right, yes, in some cases, right? And that's obviously, what Maister does with this character is that it's all about getting those combos together and taking, one piece of it and saying, again, right, how can I pare down your options and then follow up on that after that? Because Game & Watch doesn't have the best speed or the best range, but a lot of his moves are very safe, so if he can get good positioning, he's very, very difficult to deal with. Maister proving that for sure. Love that recovery by Luis to the top platform, though.
Yeah, fundamentals definitely have to reign supreme in this instance, but like war of attrition, something that Louis Money does not want to go through, and hey, with one stock left to give on both sides, somebody looking to make a big impact in this first game.
It's so hard to fight in a comeback scenario as Palutena, right? Because like you said, has to be based on those fundamentals. She doesn't really have that robbery factor that a lot of other characters do. And if you do get that, it's off of a big read on like a forward smash or a down air or something that's really, really tough to find. And Luis, those percents climb up just a little bit by bit, and Maister finally able to take advantage. Beautifully placed forward air to take that game 1.
It's rough. Like, both of them are really counting on, like, one person overextending. And it's these situations to where, like, Game & Watch gets so much reward off of things like fair, like I said. Like, it's one of these things to where in a clutch situation, like, who's going to be the safest once they throw a move? And Game & Watch definitely the one who's going to be the safest.
Yeah, like we were talking about, right? Just so many of those moves are very, very difficult to, I mean, not only contest with, but then also very difficult to whiff punish as well. And that makes things really difficult. Like, you have to really take initiative against this character most of the time, or at least find a way to put him on the back foot, because otherwise, yeah, he's going to be able to sit underneath platforms, throw out these moves that you're going to have a hard time punishing. And that's sort of antithetical to the way that Palu usually wants to play. She's very good at responding to what you're doing.
Yes.
We'll see game 2 right here on Battlefield. Luis happy to run it back and maybe try to get some ideas right of how to deal with Maister in the long term when he's sitting underneath these platforms, and certainly maybe limit this combo game that Game & Watch can just take to incredible lengths on the stage.
Yeah, earlier they just saw like literally like things like that, like daring through the stage, and also being able to nair and getting the top hit, and the top hit is almost like a combo starter. You did not just die. Oh my goodness, that was a crazy stock. Are you serious?
Off of one read, and that's what we were talking about, right? Is that Palu has to commit to something big to try to take an early stock and really take the initiative in a game. And if you whiff it, then yeah, you lose that stock really, really early. Down smash into forward smash is going to confirm to a KO it. Depending on your mash, probably like 60 or 70% on a Palu.
Yeah, man, you're going to lose these exchanges. Like, sure, you're going to get the damage and the combo that you wanted, but Game & Watch has this RNG ability to kill at some points. And that down smash to bury like it did and then kill it that early, it's really, really rough. And so far, at a deficit. Louis Money has to play in Maister. We saw the platform chase earlier. That was really good.
Ooh, and he spaced perfectly around that key, because you saw earlier that if he's not well spaced around that, the key will beat out that Palu up air, right? You're only getting one multi-hit versus the strong single hit of the key. But much like the Joker down guns, you can space to the side of it, and you'll be able to hit him before that hitbox gets to you. So that was really well played by Luis, and mostly back on even playing field, though. Although being ledge trapped by Game & Watch, never what I would exactly call an even game state.
Definitely. Louis Money just having a little bit of difficulty not being back to get center stage to try to regain control. Maister says, no, thank you. You can get back at my leisure, but you will take some damage on the way in, getting clipped by the ending of that back air, just as a get-off-me type tool.
Well, Luis, I mean, speaking of back airs, obviously great tool for him in this matchup, but it is not necessarily just spammable the way that some other characters' back airs are, right? Cloud comes to mind, because it doesn't have the best range. Yes, it is invincible, but also does not have the best end lag either. Game & Watch should be able to punish it, and I mean, look at this. If you're getting juggled by Game & Watch, good luck getting back down.
And it's wild because, like, you're getting juggled, but you're not. Because it's like, you're being able to, like, land on the top platform after getting up air by Game & Watch, but you're still taking, like, a massive amount of damage by holding it. And that pressure, so insurmountable that fair was literally able to shield poke and get that stock like it did. Maister in a situation to where they're up by one stock.
And yeah, he's just been making great use of, again, that safety that Game & Watch offers. Those forwarders on shield, I mean, those are plus, right? Yeah. He actually is at the frame advantage. He gets to choose a move before you do. And oftentimes, because it's Game & Watch, he's got some quick options. Even with great DI, Luis couldn't hold on to that stock, and now he's trying to bring it back again with the robbery. Just can't find it here at the ledge. He is really fishing for it, and somehow he gets a gift there from Maister. Neutral going to be into that down smash. Man, Luis finding his way back into this one.
Hey, the Louis Money fundamentals, baby, coming into play. Louis Money is just literally waiting for you to make a mistake, and as the game goes on longer, he's finding the best possible punishes for Game & Watch.
I feel like that really speaks volumes to the fact that Maister has been defined by sort of the game in being mistakes, right? He's been punishing Luis's mistakes really well, but he's also been getting punished pretty hard for his mistakes, and maybe Luis is shifting the game plan up from trying to play that usual safe Palu game plan to trying to punish mistakes. Great approach there by Maister, though.
Yeah, this up air is just paying dividends right now for Maister. Maister literally is like, hey, if you're willing to camp at the platform, I'm going to get my little hits. It is whatever, but dope. 2 up airs, going for a third, but spacing himself amongst the key, like you said earlier, Kimona. Well done.
Yeah, he really just had to try to avoid that key first and foremost, because you don't want to, again, set yourself up to get juggled by Game & Watch. And if you whiff the up air, then the worst case scenario is you reset to neutral, force the re-grab, read the jump off the ledge as well. Luis, one solid setup at the ledge maybe from taking this.
Louis Money coming alive here, trying to get that poke with the down tilt to stop the advance. And so far, a quick return to neutral. We see the nairs getting space. Wow, that would have been a great move. I totally forgot about the down to the Game & Watch. Also sends you at one of those strange angles, especially off stage.
And I mean, it will perfectly set you up to be at the ledge as well, getting ledge trapped. Now that's the game that Maister has to play against the Palu, and that back air from Luis getting a little bit stale, so I don't know if that's going to be his KO option here.
We've got a little bit of explosive flame, and so far Louis Money has been taking Maister coast to coast, making sure that they don't get back to the ledge. Forward space it comfortably, and the footwork to get back into the middle of the stage, but Louis Money on the offense again, and got a full bucket from that side special, and threw it, and wow, what a play, and got some more?
He's willing to just toss that out too, because it's not very strong, but what it is very fast and almost unreactable. Luis playing around it well though, and he is just trying to wait for one of those mistakes from Maister, and the crowd gets a little bit excited to see Luis bring that one back. The set's back to even at 1-1, and like we were talking about, he just baited a couple of mistakes out of Maister, and it defined that whole game too.
So being a fundamental player, especially in this instance where, you know, the other character may seem gimmicky, kind of slow playing is what Louis Money's game plan here is. It's like, hey, look, if I get a stock loss, it's no problem. If I'm able to really capitalize on the mistakes, it can pay off big. 1-1 in this set so far between Louis Money and Maister.
It's a dangerous game to play, right, against a character like Game & Watch, who obviously can do so much damage off of those initial hits, especially at those low percents, and to just have faith in yourself to keep the pace, right? Tortoise in the hair and say, I'm going to meet you at the finish line and I will cross it before you. That's the kind of way that Luis has to play this. He can't just get out to a super early lead and have that confidence. We saw what happened when he tried earlier in that game too. The fact that he came back was pretty good for him. And Maister answering now with a counter pick to small battlefield, getting rid of that top platform and hopefully giving Luis fewer escape zones that Maister could take advantage of. But right now, Luis is all over him.
And this stage pick actually might work to Louis Money's advantage because of the small blast zones that small battlefield has. So he's kind of counting on this. You know, things like that up smash almost getting rid of Maister, the catch and the back throw, and literally at 130 almost getting a stock right there. And this is kind of what he's waiting on. Going to get a forward throw, so more disadvantage right here from Maister. Maister, the game plan to get back on stage, the roll, and Louis Money just standing stoic at the ledge with the back throw.
He's ice cold, man. That is ice-cold Luis right there, because, again, he knows that if he can't just set up for the back air at the ledge, obviously would have taken the stock if he hit it, but what is key as a Palutena when you're ledge trapping is that you have to make sort of your win condition and what you're looking for a little bit more ambiguous, because if you're just short hopping with your back turned to them, obviously you're looking for a back air and Maister can play around that, but when he just stands there, not only puts the fear of God into you, but it's also still ambiguous.
Yeah, and it's one of these things still where you actually tested that up smash. You know what? I like the idea. You have to show me. You have to show me and make me respect your options. Otherwise, I'm going to come in and I'm going to feel the need to do whatever I want. And with a stock to give, Louis Money is testing those waters.
So okay, this time he just teleports. I was like, look, you got away with it twice. I can't believe he's going anywhere near that.
Yeah. And this is like, hey, I have no fear. Like, I have, you know, leverage right now. And right now, my job is to make sure that I get as much percentage on you as possible, and I'll do whatever it takes.
It's really interesting to watch him have faith in his win conditions, but my goodness, Maister hitting him back hard with that read.
Like, all right, you got a little percent on me, but don't worry, man. I still got the reach just like you do. So, yep, I was gonna say this. Gave that counter game of the combo game of Maister coming into play right here. So, on ledge to ledge trap, is it his turn to ledge trap? And it looks like it is so far.
And we've been talking a lot about how Luis has had to try to respond to Maister, and I feel like that's just because a lot of times when you play against Maister, the onus is on you to make changes, because in the best way possible, right? Maister is, I mean, like a human boss fight. It is impossible to stop him from playing the game plan that he wants to do, and my God, those options are really strong. So for a guy like Luis to be able to respond to these very powerful options that Maister has, and Maister's been leveraging them really, really well. You can see he has taken the lead in this game and may even take this stock to further that lead and really get to just dominate that game plan over Louis Money, but he has got to find that confirm to finish his plate.
Yeah, definitely feels like you're playing one of those platform game bosses whenever you're fighting Maister.
Like Mega Man,
yeah, like you're the Mega Man, like in this instance, and he's the Mega Man boss, and literally literally Maister throwing projectiles, just creating a hitbox so that way he's not easily approachable. And as you can see right here, taking coast to coast, and look at that, the breakfast, and now all of a sudden he has down B available. So do you save it at this juncture, especially with the percentage so high? You don't need a lot to get rid of Louis Money, but Louis Money going to work on the ledge right here and trying to get this stock to send it into a one-stock situation and taken coast to coast, even though you're still throwing explosive flames and then a dash attack that said you in disadvantage once again. Do we see the same story twice? Oh my goodness, Maister.
Dropping right in with that forwarder, and that whole time, right, we kind of thought that the win condition would be around the bucket, right, that he was just going to toss it out and then that would be the end of it. And we saw Maister trying to set up for ledge traps that would be conducive to that too, but at the end of the day, he realized, okay, if Luis is just going to play defensively around that bucket, keep trying to throw out these explosive flames and run away from me, eventually I can just drop in right on top of him with some burst movement, get that stock taken, and now he gets to play with that stock lead, which he has been looking for a while.
Yeah, and we see that, oh my goodness, okay, good up B. And I like the up B to reset the situation to get him back in the center rather than try to just respond to an attack like that. You know, it's really not worth it at this juncture. I want to keep my lead, says Maister, and at 156, it's looking really, really good. The up throw into more combo potential, 72% right now, having a little bit of difficulty, but as I say that, Louis Money corrects my mistake, and now there's a one-stock situation, 1-1 in the set so far.
What would be any of us to doubt Louis Money at this point, right? Like, he's played really well this whole weekend. The stage actually eats that explosive flame. Interesting interaction right there that Luis is going to have to make a comeback from. It's at 113, and Maister says, you're not at anything anymore. Getting that 2-1 lead and just responding so well to that defensive play from Luis.
And the crazy thing about like that move, that game watch down smash is like it bears from both sides. So even if he landed in red or roll, if he had two options, he was literally in a 50-50 situation. Okay, either you roll back and miss, or you roll towards me and get hit no matter what. Because at the spot he was at, even if he rolled behind him, he still would have got hit by it and buried. Which is wild. That's how insane that move is.
That sweet spot's like relatively big too. I know that it's not like the biggest sweet spot on a move, but it has good priority over the weaker hits. And yeah, unless you're literally right on top of Game & Watch, or if you're at the very edge, or catch one of those late hits, it's really a whole timing game for Maister more than anything else. And he is so good at reading the timing of his opponents. What you have to do is Game & Watch to decide, when do I need to back off, when do I need to give up a little bit of stage control so that I can continue to play completely safely, and especially in that aspect, right? When do I toss out that down smash, because he knows he's going to be spaced correctly.
So right now, a little bit of a possibly stage kind of pick and chess match going on between the guys. But Louis Money down by one, the Maister doing what they've always done in high intense situations like this. And it's really like both these guys are just really fundamental players. Like, and they're really, really good at like what they do as in reading people's mistakes, as we've said the entire set, and it feels like it's been the theme of this set so far. So going into a Game 3, stage pick definitely going to matter here. Felt like those like small blast zones and like the smaller space really allowed Maister to kind of just flourish, not too much, but able to catch Louis Money in some things that, a bigger stage wouldn't allow for.
I mean, again, we talked about how on Battlefield it seemed like Luis had so many escape zones there. And I think that comes down to the difference in both of these players' fundies, right? Where you look at the way that Luis develops his fundamentals, they're very player to player. He's trying to figure out how to make just bits and pieces of small adaptations as a set goes on, and that's why kind of the whole puzzle gets built once you get to Game 5 with him. Whereas Maister is very much a character fundamentalist, right? It's not just about the Game & Watch, but it's about how he's approaching the matchup, what tools he's allowed to use and when, and trying to figure out, right, how to let his character do as much of the work possible for him, which honestly is the least taxing way to play the game. And that kind of fundamental play is one of the reasons why he's able to make deep runs. For crying out loud, I remember he had like a 13-set losers run in a coin box at some point or something like that. And that's because he has such a stalwart, straightforward approach to the game that really works for him.
Yeah, and it's definitely two sides of the same coin when you see players like those, right? Just one of them a character specialist and one of them a player-to-player specialist. And having a spread like that is probably, a good reason as to why they're always in that higher tier, higher echelon of the tournament. You always see Louis Money and Maister on day 3. You always see them on day 3 no matter what. So, like, to see these guys playing each other, really watching, like, wits match kind of just trying to one-up each other, a little bit of a chess game. It really makes for just really, really good gameplay, and that's what we're seeing here. Although one of them does, suffice to say, have gimmicks, right?
Right, but that's sort of the whole point, right? Is that as a player, you have to have some kind of specialization if you're going to make it to the top level of the game. And guys, by the way, before we get back to that whole conversation, just going to update you that we're having some technical difficulties, I believe, up on stage right now. So we're trying to get that fixed so that we can get right back into the set. I know we want to get this finished quickly, right? We want to see who's going to be in the top 8 and, of course, catch the action the rest of the day, because you don't want to tune out of the channel after this, because Melee Top 8 is incredibly stacked. You don't want to miss that. And then, of course, Ultimate Top 8 after that here at Lost Tech City 22. The whole tournament has been stacked through and through. I was sitting out in the front venue watching Ultimate on one screen, Fighters on one screen, Multiverses on one screen. Like, it was just all across. It was like I was going to have this multi-Twitch up at home anyways.
Right.
But now I'm watching it on, like, 100-foot monitors above a giant stage.
We had to come to the Techport Arena, and we appreciate everybody out here in San Antonio extending their hands and showing us some love with this amazing new venue that we've been in for the past couple of days. It really is quite a sight, and we're really, really so happy to just, you know, be here and enjoying the events, and more events and more Smash Brothers to be enjoyed. We are at Game 4 between Louis Money and Maister, with a lot on the line going in the top 8.
Yeah, 2-1 with Maister in the lead, and we're finally getting back into it with, you know, these two getting a little bit of extra time to think, and definitely for a guy like Luis, that could be really helpful because, again, he's so built on making those small sort of piece-by-piece adaptations over the course of a long set, and that just gives him a little bit more time to consider it, right? But obviously, Maister's been in the zone. He looked incredibly strong in that Game 3.
Yeah, and adaptability is one of these things that, you know, Maister is really good at displaying, especially in these, like, long sets. Now, I do like the stage pick by Louis Money. It gives him a little bit more space here on Town and City to kind of just work with it, you know, kind of like really discern whether they can place their projectiles or what move to poke or not. And seeing that on ledge is just so, like, it's nerve-wracking to have to deal with a down smash on the way up like that.
Now he's going to have to deal with the juggle from Maister, who actually snipes out that double jump as well. Luis trying to find another one of those big mistakes, but boy, that fire, that up B, that gets Maister out of a lot of tricky situations, and that's one of those where that was his only option out.
Yeah, and the fact that he was able to just say, hey, I'm out and I can recover like that much faster, like it's one of the escape tools that we've seen a lot in this set so far, and we're going to see the rest. And there, as I live and breathe, it's going to be the staple to get out of combos.
Especially here on Town and City, which is coming in clutch for Maister right now, actually. Luis trying to take him off the top of that up air, but this has one of the tallest blast zones out of any of the legal stages in the rule set, so Maister catching a little bit of a break there. Now you can see he's trying to take Luis off the side, using that Lion Tamer, the forward tilt with the chair to get him off, but not quite able to finish his plate just yet.
It was wild because I literally Maister was starting to judge where Louis Money is going to be. He's like running literally in between the platforms and just throwing it out just like that. Be like, hey, if you're running this, it's fine. But also this pokes. But something that also that pokes is that up air from Louis Money being able to take the stop right there. So Louis Money all in the driver's seat currently.
Yeah, massive hitbox right there, and he gets play with the lead. And on Town and City, I feel like that's really big because he really wants to try to maneuver this game plan, especially at KO percents over to the ledge. Right now, I'm going to try to continue a juggle on Maister, but I like that he's not overextending at these high percents because the more extra credit that he can get, that means the longer he's going to be able to control the game on that second stock.
Speaking of control, Louis Money is still not a stock gone yet. Just kind of like playing the field here, and as I say that, Maister just finally landing that fair, getting that stock, and a two-stock situation there for both players. But right now, Louis Money still in the lead. But Maister says, you give me all this space to work with, I got a lot of stuff I can punch you with and to play on that platform. And for you to have the wherewithal to just stay there and hold your ground, that is amazing.
I know that Luis definitely does not want to play with this transformation if at all possible. Also trying to get his shield back. He knows that it's dangerous to be there against Game & Watch, but also, again, he's playing very reliantly on Maister making some mistakes that he's going to be able to counter hit and punish. And sitting on that platform, if Maister makes one big mistake, if he misspaces an aerial or something, leaves himself with a lot of lag, it's an easy back throw into the blast zone. So Luis has a lot of reasons to go play around these platforms, and certainly at the ledge, Maister just can't find his way in.
Hey, man, I saw that Louis Money was literally running to the edge, trying to get a back throw set up here, and not trying to overextend, but right now, combos are a little bit, and there's playing in the position here, and wow, to throw a counter and still not get punished. The juggle situation still happening. Louis Money kind of playing on, you know, the polar opposites of the stage, playing on the right and the left, trying to get a quick kill from a back throw, and he's having a little bit of difficulty, but able to get the down tilt into the back air staple combo from Palutena, and now a one-stock situation for Maister.
I think you can tell how frustrating this has to be for Maister, right? Not able to get anywhere near this Palutena, and again, with Luis building up all that extra credit, he was able to play with that lead for so much longer on that second stock, force Maister into these situations where he just can't approach. Game & Watch doesn't have the range to get in there, despite the fact he's still actually running this decently close. 114 means that if he can catch Luis out of position one time, just one more time, he's definitely got the stock locked down. That forward air's just not quite enough to do it.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely the stock to where, oh, wow.
That is exactly what he wanted out of that up throw. A lot of people would say, why not down throw? Why not see if he'll give you an air dodge or something? Maister will up B out of that every time, but if you toss him up with that up throw, chances are you might find that key coming down, and Luis was ready to space around it with that up air.
That was excellent, and that was just a long time in the making. He kind of got conditioned, right, and conditioned to like throw these dares in situations where they might find themselves in disadvantage, and Louis Money picking up on that and be like, you know what, I'm gonna just up air right here. And honestly, if it trades in any sort of manner, I'm gonna win it. I'm gonna win it anyway, but it'll at least deter you from doing this. But right there, when it needed it the most, it definitely took a stock. So now, 2-2.
Would it be a Louis Money set if we didn't go to Game 5?
Yeah.
Especially this late in bracket?
Yeah, like I agree. Like honestly, it's one of these situations where, like Louis Money, he just finds a way to adapt. Maybe not at first, but throughout playing, you know, able to make the correct adjustments. So here we go. As dramatic as a set as it has been, it has to come to an end. Game 5 between Louis Money and Maister.
And one more game will decide who is filling that last spot in winner's side of top 8 and who's going to have to go through that gauntlet in the losers bracket to get up there. We're on Pokemon Stadium 2 for Game 5, and we haven't seen this all set just yet, but Maister right now looking to play with a little bit more space, and hopefully, right, he's got these platforms in the middle, so Luis isn't going to be able to bait him into playing around them near the ledge where he was so powerful. But this is already starting off pretty strong for Luis. Maister did get his opening combo, but now, again, the question is, how do you get in on Luis when the defense is just so peerless right now?
Yeah, when you see Louis Money, like literally the fundamentals on 10 is where you see him on ledge with the ledge guard. And that's where the strength of Louis Money's game plan flourishes the most. And we've seen it so far. We saw him literally keep him on ledge for at least 20 to 15 seconds, talking about some, oh, I need to get back to the center stage. It's like, no, you're not. You're going to force a move, or I'm going to force him around you. I'm going to punch it accordingly. And so far, a little bit neutral and kind of just nickel and diming between the two players, but nothing big from them just quite yet.
Yeah, I mean, and that's all because Luis has been setting the pace of the match, and Maister doing his best to catch up, does have the percents a little bit back to even. He is just not able to leverage that stage control that we saw from him in those first couple of games that were so successful for him. Now Luis has really been able to make up some distance, especially here on PS2 where there's just so much stage to work with. But Maister fighting back, does get the forward air on the platform. He's caught Luis retreating there quite a few times, and now it is time for Maister to shine. He's playing with a lead, and he's going to keep building it up.
That was a ridiculous just gambit right there with him like literally jumping from shield after waiting on him to grab. So now that we see Maister kind of like locking in a little bit of a more aggressive approach, unlike he had in the last sets, in the last game, excuse me, and now we see this man Maister on the attack and trying to just get a little bit more extra credit before that stock loss, but with the trailing down like that and Louis Money getting a little bit lower than that bomb so that way they don't get hit, and the chase continues.
He's right back into the corner. I don't know if you've noticed this, but like, it seems like Luis just isn't trying to challenge Maister at all when he's on the ground. He just exclusively wants to try to air him with things like the forward air and the back air, even the up air against the key, right? He just doesn't want to contest with that ground control that Game & Watch has, and Pala doesn't have the best grounded game, particularly her attacks. The dash attack is really nice, but everything else pretty punishable, pretty reactable as well. So, I mean, Maister has really been sticking with that grounded game plan, and that time, that get-up attack really bailing him out of a tricky situation.
The first time we've seen that, and he's just kind of like making sure that they can keep this lead for as long as possible. At 140%, that is like, the Game & Watch has been alive for this long. It's kind of saying something, and now Louis Money is getting at the percentage where it's like, yo, I'm really paying for this right now. Like, I'm really paying the toll to play this.
And, I mean, he just can't stick with his own game plan. Effective as it has been, it just doesn't quite work when you're not playing with the lead. Maister isn't forced to come your way, and you know that the pressure's on you. Maister will play the patience game with you, does finally punish a whiffed grab, so stocks go to even, but Maister is playing with a cavernous lead.
Maister kind of just going back and forth here, like, hey, I have a big lead at the moment, so there's really no need to try to, you know, give you anything or show my hand that I shouldn't. And Louis Money has to find a way to make this comeback and add, you know, over 130% deficit. And literally, the hitbox, the wing hitbox didn't get you, and that's the one that needed it. Oh, my goodness.
And I wonder why he even goes for that at 10% against Maister. It probably was a tech flub, but if not, I wonder if Luis is really keeping track of the game state at this point. And nonetheless, Maister really taking advantage of that. And he knows he's got such a lead. He doesn't need to worry about taking the stock right now. 204, he is sitting pretty at this moment. He gets one more aerial and it's all good. But hold up, all this rage up air almost takes him off the top. I thought that we were about to see the reversal of the century.
And while it's looking like this, oh my God! Louis Money with the reverse. He's at 204%.
With all that rage, man, Luis might be feeling it in real life too, because he's forging on with this game. It seemed like it was all Maister, but we're going down to the last stock. Both of these players prospering right now, and either one of them might be going to winner's side of top 8.
Louis Money and Maister. Louis Money just getting one combo, taking an inch and giving it a full mile. Like that looked so lopsided for a while, and all of a sudden Louis Money says, hey, let's flip the coin, and the momentum has completely flipped so far in this game.
Luis just backing off right back to the defense, throwing out an auto reticle for maybe the first time in this entire set. Obviously, you don't want to let that get bucketed. Here's some big damage from Maister, getting Luis back up into the air, and now with no double jump, it's going to be huge damage for Maister.
Right, and the situation he was looking for was just to get Louis Money in disadvantage just for a little bit, so that way we can put on huge damage and try to get back into this set so far. And really, Maister just looking to play just a little bit more fundamentally, not trying to do any mistakes, and you can see staying on the other side and just throwing fair just to make sure we create a wall, so that way you don't just run in and try a dash attack or run up grab.
You can see Maister's game plan clearly. He wants Luis to come to him, and that's the long and short of it. He knows that if he tries to break into that Palu space, we're going to see what we saw for those last 2 games. It's just so hard to get up in front of Luis when he wants to keep you away, and now stuck at the ledge where Luis has made so much money already, but he's forced back into center stage again by those fares.
Hey, and if you guys take a look at the right-hand side of the screen, that is less than a minute 20 in this, and this couldn't be closer. And as the percents get closer and closer, do they risk it? Do they go for a super aggressive move or a read attempt to get the stock? But the way this game has been, it's been just such a marginal thing to figure out whether they want to throw a move or not, to figure out if they want to take that risk to get that stock.
I mean, we are less than a minute left, and these percents could hardly be closer right now. One more stray aerial, one more stray dash attack, something from Luis could even up these percents, but Maister gets to play it slow now. 43 seconds remain on the timer. Luis is looking for that back air. He knows that it could spell Maister's doom near the ledge.
No, the run-up Lion Tamer, are you serious? Maister with the heartbreaker to Louis Money.
Wow, and at the end of all that, Luis still has the wherewithal to give a smile. He knows that he played it well, but when you come that close, it's got to be heartbreaking. On the other side, Maister gets up calmly. He maintained his composure to the very end, and again, it all came down to that grounded game, catching one wayward landing from Luis, who just couldn't find a way to close out those stocks in those last few seconds of that game, and Maister walking away with a heart-stopping 3-2 victory.